All right, so today is day 2 of our analysis essay writing. Today we're actually going to get into the nitty gritty of the actual writing portion. Yesterday you found out some evidence that you would use for this essay, and so today is the day that we're actually going to put it together. So let's start with our objectives. Today, you all will be able to plan an analysis that accurately analyzes how the author uses literary elements to portray the boys' society and use text evidence to support their claim. So again, yesterday you all found highlighted on your paper example of text evidence to support the literary elements the author uses to portray the boys' society. So let's go into our lesson purpose. Again, it's the same as yesterday. The fire that the boys built is and will continue to be an important symbol. So this is a symbol in the story, the fire. Again, we talked about symbolism being something that represents a greater idea. So it's an object that represents a greater concept or idea. Okay, so the fire that the boys built is and will continue to be an important symbol in the novel, so it's important to understand the literal and symbolic meanings of fire. Today we will closely analyze a few pages from your homework reading, and then you will plan and draft your first analysis essay on the unit. Now, let's go to our prompt for analysis paragraph 1. It says in the excerpt below from Lord of the Flies, the boys realize no one knows how to light a fire without matches, so they take Piggy's glasses to light it. After a short while, the fire goes out. Read the passage carefully. Then, in a well-written essay, analyze how the author uses literary elements such as dialogue and selection of detail to portray the complex situation the boys are in. So remember yesterday we talked about complex meaning something difficult or something that is not peaceful. So we're looking for dialogue and the selection of detail to show that the boys are in a very difficult or unpeaceful situation. In your response, we need to make sure that we have the following things. We need to have a thesis. We need to have evidence to develop and support our thesis. We need to explain the relationship between the evidence and our thesis, and then we need to make sure that we have appropriate grammar and punctuation in communicating our argument. All right, so now I have my handout open, and I know that I'm going to analyze how the author uses literary elements of dialogue and selection of detail to portray the complex situation the boys are in. So the first question you should be asking yourself is, how does the dialogue and the selection of detail show the complex situation the boys are in? What does the dialogue and the selection of detail tell me about the boys' situation? Again, what does the dialogue and the selection of detail tell me about the complex situation the boys are in? Now that I have read through my story, and yesterday you all went and you highlighted examples of dialogue and attention to detail from paragraphs 7 and 14 that showed you that the boys were in a tense situation or a complex situation. Now we're going to go down to this essay map. This is the teacher model, and it's showing you exactly how you will write your thesis statement. Your thesis statement will look just like this, except you will fill it in with your own words. So here I said in the excerpt from Lord of the Flies, William Golding uses dialogue and tense details to portray the boys in a situation filled with uncertainty and fear. Uncertainty and fear. So the answer to the first question that I asked you, what does the dialogue and the tense details tell me about the boys' situation? This is the answer. It tells me that they are uncertain and they are fearful. And so a thesis is your answer to a prompt. Let's remember, the thesis is the answer to a what? The thesis is the answer to a prompt. The prompt is asking us to analyze how the dialogue and the tense details tell us that the boys are in a situation, in a complex situation. And so by analyzing it, I have to tell you what the dialogue and details are showing the reader, and it's the tense details in the dialogue is showing the reader that the boys are uncertain and they are fearful. So if I look at our overall essay structure, my paragraph 1 needs to have a general statement, a specific context, and then a thesis statement. Okay? And then I will go into my body paragraph number 1, which will defend the first idea of your thesis statement, which is uncertainty, which is here. So that's why uncertainty is in this box. My second body paragraph will defend the second idea in the thesis statement, which would be fear, because fear is the second idea. So I put that here. And then going into my conclusion paragraph, I would expand on my thesis statement, giving specific context and a general statement. Now, on your essay map, you need to fill in parts 2 and 3 with your own words. So again, you answered the question earlier when I asked, how does Golding use dialogue and details to portray that the boys are in a complex situation? So now for 2 and 3, the green and blue boxes, you are going to fill in your own 2 words that show how Golding uses dialogue and details to show that the boys are in a complex situation. Do not watch further until you have completed putting your 2 words in the green and the blue box. Now, once you have put your 2 words in the green and the blue box, I want you to type your thesis statement in this orange box, and all you're going to do is copy and paste above what you see, and you will put in your 2 words here. So you will copy and paste all of this here, down here, and you will put in your 2 words. So you shouldn't have uncertainty and fear. You should have 2 other words here in this orange box. So pause the screen and do that now. All right, so let's look at our essay map on the next page. And it says we're going to start with a general statement. A general statement has nothing to do with the story. It has more to do with your thesis. It's not necessarily just about the story. Yeah, it has something to do with the story, but it's not just about the characters. So you want to just do a general statement, not anything about Ralph, not anything about Piggy or the characters in the story. You want to just say a statement that is true, that can tie into your thesis. So for example, if you remember, I said that the dialogue and the tense details show uncertainty and fear in the characters, right? So a general statement would be, it is often said that desperate times lead to desperate measures. That's almost like a hook there, right? So just starting off my essay to let you know that that's what I'm going to be talking about. Then it says specific context. So that's getting more specific to the general statement that I just said. When humans react from a place of fear instead of calm wisdom, the outcome is rarely a good one. So again, I'm going to basically get you introduced to fear is going to be in my thesis statement, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. And then down here I have my thesis statement. In this excerpt from Lord of the Flies, William Golding uses dialogue and tense details to portray the boys in a situation filled with uncertainty and fear. Okay, so again, the thesis statement restates the prompt, except it includes my own analysis. So now I am going to ask you to pause here, and you are going to complete your introduction paragraph, where you are going to write your general statement. You'll add specific context, and you already have your thesis statement from above, so you'll copy and paste it down here. The thesis statement is the most important part of your essay, so you want to make sure that this is very tight. Pause the screen here to complete this portion. All right, so you are done with this portion. If you are done, go ahead and raise your hand so Ms. Nelson can give a check to what you have written, and she can give you the thumbs up or thumbs down if you need to move on. Now, let's get into our body paragraph number 1. Your body paragraph number 1 on your paper looks a little bit different than this because this is a lot and I'm not going to expect all of this of you, but I wanted to show you what it would look like once we get closer to the end of the semester. Basically, your body paragraph number 1 needs to start with a topic sentence. You need to have context and evidence. You also need to have an analysis, okay? Again, then you'll end it with a concluding sentence. So this is a lot, so I'm going to show you what it would look like on your papers. So this is what body paragraph number 1 looks like on your paper. You will create a topic sentence, meaning you are going to introduce that first point that you made. So remember, we talked about on your essay map, your first paragraph will defend the first idea in your thesis statement. So in the example that I gave you, it was uncertainty. So uncertainty will go in body paragraph number 1. Whatever you put for your first idea is what you're going to write about in your body paragraph number 1. So I'm going to scroll back down. Then you need to find evidence from the story, meaning you need to go and find the exact quote in the text above. There's no need of you going to the book because you don't need the book, because the text that they want you to analyze is already given to you on this sheet. You've already highlighted these different examples yesterday. So what you can do now is copy and paste the context and the evidence here using the line number, and then you will further analyze whatever evidence you have. For those of you that are struggling with analysis, which many of you are, I'm going to show you on the next screen what that looks like. So, for example, it says, at this juncture, the boys are gradually coming to the realization that they haven't the slightest idea of how to survive their calamitous circumstances. So they don't have any idea how to survive where they are and what they're going through. Here's some context plus evidence. Building a lasting fire is a basic tenet of wilderness survival, not only for the sake of warmth, but it's also necessary for cooking and rescue in the event rescuers were to spot the flames. Here's analysis. Unfortunately, the boys struggled to get on one accord and hatch a sensible plan to bring a lasting fire about. Everyone is clamoring for his own way instead of coming together as one to craft a sensible plan. And then we have context plus evidence. The distrust among the group is growing. His specs use them as burning glasses. You see that the paragraph number is here. Then it says, when Jack snatched the glasses, here's analysis. When Jack snatched the glasses off Picky's face in order to spark a fire with them, readers are left to wonder whether the absurd plan would work. So when we talk about analysis, it means you are looking deeper into just giving me the text and the page from the text, because we can read it too. You are going deeper into what the what your thesis is saying. So if your thesis is saying uncertainty, embodied paragraph is uncertainty, they're showing me in this analysis how uncertainty happens, not only with the text quotes, but also with their analysis and looking deeper into how that affects the readers and how it affects the characters. Okay, so body paragraph 1. Now that you have looked at me explain